Hello, my name is Elske Vaal and this is Bible Words in Hebrew. Today I want to talk about Abram and Lot. It is October of the year 2023, a little over a week ago. Israel was attacked in a very horrific way by Hamas terrorists, and I read on the LinkedIn page of a local reverend where he wrote a little bit about what to think about what happened, and he said any Israeli government would try to retrieve the hostages and would act on these deeds of terror. And as an example, he mentioned Abram, who retrieved Lot when he was kidnapped by enemy kings. And what he said was Abram didn't ask if Lot maybe had himself to blame for the predicament that he was in. Abram went in and went to retrieve him, and he was also, this reference was also very clear about the evil, the great evil that is behind this attack. Human life, but in particular Jewish life, has been threatened for ages by evil powers, and this was pure evil. They didn't even try to hide the evil like the Nazis did, and I don't want to belittle what they did, but they are not even trying to hide what they did. They are making it very clear to the world how evil this is. They are proud of the brutal killings and unspeakable things that they did. So I think it's up to the church to be very clear about what this is. To not be shy to say this is evil. And I'm not saying that everything that the state of Israel does is pure good. You don't have to know that what happened here is evil. Well, Genesis chapter 14, this video will not be very long because, because the word that we are going to study, mágan, is does not appear much in the Hebrew Bible, only 3 times. This is the first time. Genesis 14 verse 20 in the Current Jerusalem Bible. The high priest Melchizedek is speaking here, and he is blessing Abram. He's speaking to Abram after Abram retrieved Lot and some other hostages. And blessed be the Most High God, who has delivered thy enemies into thy hand, and he gave him a tithe of everything. Delivered, that is the translation of the Hebrew word mágan. It's a PL here, so it says migain. He has delivered, and this word only appears in PL form, and it means to deliver over, to give, or to bestow. Some word connections. Mágan has the same characters. It's a noun and it means shield, protection, or protector. And it the first mention is Genesis 15 verse 1. It is the chapter after Abram's when Abram delivered Lot, and after he met the high priest Melchizedek. And God says to Abram, I will be your mágan, I will be your shield, your protection. And Genesis 15 is the chapter where there is this very special covenant between God and Abram, this everlasting covenant. Then Ganan, mágan is from Ganan, and it means to cover, to protect, or to guard. And the first mention of this word is 2 Kings 19, verse 34, the siege of Jerusalem in the day of Hezekiah. And God covers the city, and the enemies become confused, and Jerusalem is delivered. And then Gan. Gan is also inside the word mágan, inside our word, so that's a really special word connection. Gan means garden or orchard or park. We see it a lot of times in Genesis 2. Gan Eden, of course, paradise, and a garden or a park is like a protected piece of nature, a guarded piece of nature. That's Gan, and it's also inside our word. The characters. First character is mem. Numerical value is 40. Mem means water, and it stands for the flowing of time, especially for time in the desert, 40 years for the people of Israel, 40 days for Jesus, and it also stands for waiting time, waiting for God, but the time in the desert is also speaking time for God. It is where he is intimate with his people. We see that in the books of Moses, but we also see that, for example, in Hosea, I think it's chapter 3, but I'm not sure about this, where God says, I will take her into the desert and speak to her heart. So that's mem, waiting time, but also God's speaking time. Then Gimel, numerical value of 3, means camel, also means weaning, so to grow up to be a more free person. It's moving to a free existence, to make one's own choices, to get moving. Gimel is the first letter of Goel, which means redeemer. And the Redeemer brings his people to a free existence. Then Nun, closing Nun, in this word, numerical value of 50. Nun means fish, and it stands for freedom and also responsibility. It's a breakthrough in society, this Nun phase. It's the letter that symbolizes the going into the promised land. So not deliverance from Egypt, but 40 years later, the entrance of the promised land, which the people entered with the leader Yehoshua, the son of Nun. And the closing Nun especially stands for continuity, to live continually and secure on the land, and it stands for faithfulness. Well, the first mention of the word mágan, we already saw that. That was Genesis 14 verse 20. Second mention is in the prophet of Hosea, chapter 11 verse 8, and I would advise you to read the whole chapter, maybe every chapter of verses that I mention in this study. It's not a lot. You can take a week maybe, or if you have a lot of time, maybe less, but read it. Hosea 11 verse 8. How shall I give thee up, O Ephraim? How shall I surrender thee, O Israel? How shall I make thee like Admah? How shall I set thee like Zeboim? My heart is turned within me, all my compassion is kindled. God wants to punish his people for going after idols, for not being loyal to him. But then this verse, this chapter, his heart is turned and his compassion is kindled when he sees his people in despair. And the last mention of this word is Proverbs 4 verse 9. The she in this verse is wisdom. She shall give to thy head an ornament of grace. A crown of glory shall she bestow on thee. And wisdom, of course, we know this is something other than intelligence. Harvard University, there are intelligent people, but we could say that the statement about Israel and Palestine was not wise. The Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So let us seek that wisdom, and let that be the first thing we seek, and not worldly intelligence. If you want to learn Hebrew, I think this is a wonderful method to do so. Hebrew in 6 days by Study House Rashid. It is written with a lot of love for the Hebrew language. And you could also Google Study House Rashid. A part of their website is in English, and they have great courses and great materials for studying Hebrew. If you want to know more, you could visit my blog, and if you want a heads up with every new video, of course you can get a subscription on this YouTube channel, but you could also send me an email, and I'll give you a heads up with every new video. I'd love to hear from you. Have a good week. Shavua Tov.